We're back again with representatives from CFF, that's the California Farm Worker Foundation, and we're here joined by Noemi Robles, our interpreter, in case you're needed. Don't go anywhere. Jacob Martin, our tech support, Kimberly Clark, and Jennifer Camacho. And today we're going to pick up on the conversation, folks, about CFF's activities. And I want to start out by, how did you guys get here?
Thank you, Eddie. I'm Kimberly Clark. I'm the Director of Programs with the California Farm Worker Foundation, or CFF, as we'll call it. And the California Farm Worker Foundation was founded in 2016, and we started in Delano, California, which is a pretty small town, and we really just grew up from there. So in the modern day, we serve in Fresno, Kern, Tulare counties in the Central Valley, and we're also down in the Coachella Valley, and of course out here in Santa Maria since 2022. CFF grew a lot during COVID. We all talk about unprecedented times. CFF really rose to the occasion because we had everyone, remember talking about essential workers? Farm workers were definitely the ones that were literally feeding us and continue to do so. So we grew a lot during COVID, and we maintain health and wellness as our number one priority. But as you mentioned, Eddie, we also are looking to support and service farm workers beyond their literal health. When we talk about wellness, we want to touch on wraparound services, nutrition, education, workforce development, we mentioned, and also our civil assistance program, where we support them with immigration or accessing public benefits, which now, I know we talked about Mixteco, I'm going to mention again, that's actually one of the newer initiatives that Jennifer and her team have really been bringing to make sure that farm workers have access to these resources. Because it's one thing, first you have to know about the resources and support that's out there, but then you have to actually know how to access it. So don't worry, also for Spanish speakers or even English speakers, but I'm really proud of the work that Jennifer and her team have been doing here to really facilitate for our Mixteco speakers out here.
Kimberly, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I got to tell you, in my experience, and I get involved with a lot of different activities and community organizations, and everybody's got their thing, and everybody's doing good work, okay? And here's what happens too often. I'll be involved in a conversation. I'm listening to other community leaders who are talking about what we need to do. And oh, by the way, we've got to make this available in Spanish. And oh, by the way, you got the Hispanic community. And oh, by the way, and then I go, excuse me, we have the Mixteco community here in northern Santa Barbara County. And everybody goes, oh, yeah. Like it's always an afterthought. And yet the community is large. I've been told that we have as many as 20,000 Mixteco speakers in this region. I'm seeing Jennifer nod. Okay, so I'm getting an idea that I might be right. But most people that you ask, Jennifer, they go, are you kidding? And that was my first reaction. Honestly, it was my first reaction. It's like, are you sure? So tell us a little bit more about interacting with the Mixteco population. And thank you, Kimberly, because understanding where CFF comes from and accepting that you guys have only been here for 2 years, right? Imagine the impact that you will have on our valley in a decade. Just imagine that for a moment. Take it in. Don't say anything. A moment of silence, please. Kimberly, tell us a little bit more about some of the activities around workforce development and the civil assistance. Is that the term you used?
We realized we were doing a lot of services in this area, and we didn't have a good name for it. So it is a newer name, our Civil Assistance Program, or CAP, as we like to call it. And actually, one of the services that made us go this direction, which unfortunately is no longer available, I have to pause on that. But one of the things that actually pushed us towards this area and is actually the USDA Farm and Food Worker Relief Grant Program, which, Eddie, I think you've heard of that one.
We had a little bit to do with that one, yes. The United Ways throughout the state had a lot to do with delivering that program, but frankly, we didn't do it without CFF. There was so much, and thank you, Jennifer. I mean, I'm going to say thank you until I leave this organization, and I have no plans of leaving, by the way. So it was such a benefit to the community and to us as an organization. Because here's what happened for me. I think this happened in the very first week. Not the TikTok episode, Jennifer. That's another story. But seeing the number of families that were coming in with very young children, and I'm sitting back going, well, that means that the children were born here, whether or not their parents were born here or are citizens or not, the children are. And so the children have access to certain programs and income supports, or their parents do, because of the child. And there's so many synergies that I think we can grow into. The state of California, through the, what do we call them, the earned income tax credit, the family tax credits, the child tax, especially the child tax credits, could accrue to our working families, those folks who are out there, your constituents, that we could work together more closely. We call it VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. We also call it Free Tax Assistance Program. We also call it EI. We got a lot of acronyms around here, ladies. But I think, working closely together in this fall to help prepare the documentation that can help both populations, the Spanish-speaking and the Mixteco populations, understand that we're here to help file their tax returns for free, and there's so much more to that program. So yes, civil CAP. I'm just going to stick with CAP.
We like our acronyms. It's a lot easier. I definitely love that you bring this up, the VITA program, because this is something that not everybody's aware of, right? And there's actually a lot of money that the IRS holds on to because people don't know that you should be doing your taxes, because a lot of times you can get actually money back at the state level. And yes, farm workers are paying taxes. They're paying into these systems. And so this dovetails perfectly, which we will be sending people your way come tax season.
I-10.
One of the other, exactly. Oh, you stole it out from under me.
I didn't mean to steal the thunder, but it's already happening. Kimberly, I think our I-10 applications, they've more than tripled. We didn't have a lot to start with, but I see them happening every day. I was here alone last Friday, and there were people coming to the door wanting to, because the IRS is sending them. I guess you guys are also sending them. So, as it's all word of mouth, right? So we need to work together to figure out how do we get everyone to understand that, those income supports are there. Kimberly, you're right. Child tax credit, earned income tax credit, family tax credits, education credits, it's all there. And the IRS wants us to help people access those funds.
They've actually reached out saying that exact thing to me. And I think this is a perfect example of, while we did start really our partnership between CFF and Santa Maria United Way, working with the USDA program to get relief, actual financial relief, into the hands of farm workers directly, there's a lot more that we can grow into, whether it's supporting literacy for children and farm workers, but also with the VITA and these other programs. This is a perfect example of, not only do you have to know the resources there, but you have to know how to access. So from our perspective in for CFF, when our team is out in the field, one of the topics they do promote is education on I-10. What is it? What's the benefit of it? Why should you have it? And then what do you do with it? Well, then you call United Way and make an appointment to get one, and then also follow up with the VITA program to do your taxes.
Excellent. Yeah. And it, again, going back to when my eyes were opened about it, it was the USDA program. Your folks were coming in, our team, your team were working together. I think we helped over 7,300 individual farm workers here in the Valley. We weren't the only ones doing the program, but I think we're by far the largest and probably the most organized, and that was because of your help. Thank you.
Can we back up, actually? What is the USDA Farm and Food Worker Relief Grant Program? I realize we just jumped into it and started talking about it, but probably not everybody knows what that was.
What it was, and it is over. It's wrapped up now. It was a one-time $600 payment that every farm worker who worked at least one day between March of 2020, right, the beginning of COVID, and I think it went to May 2023. I'm looking at Noemi to get got a little nod. The farm workers would come in, do a simple application, and it would go through an entire system to make sure that none were replicated, right? And when that $600 payment was approved, they would receive a card in the mail. And then, of course, we were there to assist in that process too, which could be confusing for people. They get a card in the mail. It's like, okay, now what do I do with this thing, right? 7,300 individuals that we work together to help. I haven't done the math on that. 7,300 times 600, that's a lot of money.
That's
Go ahead.
more than
4.2 million?
4.2,
Yeah, 4.2, yeah.
If I can tag Jennifer in on this, I feel like you and your team had you had the front row seat, not only to working through this, thank you on those logistics, but also the impact of it.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that at all?
It was going back to when we were supporting them. You see how when we started, like in February, March.
Yes, of 23.
Supporting them. And that was during rain season. I think that was our
that's
worst
right.
season. Farm workers usually go back to work maybe late February or early February. And they start working and they start by hours and, go the strawberry season and all that. But this year was very unique because we had a lot of rain. People were out of work. They weren't even contemplating that they were going to be out of work for those months. So they were really, really struggling to even afford rent, food, and coming to get this relief. I know it was only $600, but it made a difference to them, at least for the short term, to even help pay for rent, for utilities. We got some testimonies of people saying, I already own like 2 months out of my rent.
Right.
This will help me pay for part of it. Or even like, now I can go and pay for my phone so I can call my family, or this type of stuff that you don't really see it until you talk to them and interact and hear the stories from them. And yeah, this has made a really big impact on the short term, and especially during that time of the season when we started helping farm workers.
You're right. I had forgotten about that. It was April when we got started. And when we got together, the discussion that we had was we need to roll. Mm-hmm. People are hungry. People are out of work. And the growers were right there to help us. I think of organizations like Driscoll's, and you'll remember the names of the writer, a few others. They were right there lined up to help make sure that we had locations to go and serve, right, so that we could have people effectively come in and access this money. And I think that was the short term. The long term is we've got a relationship, and we have synergy in our programs between CFF and United Way that we can help people to continue to grow. We're going to talk about a special event that the CFF team have put together, and they're very excited about, and we need to get the word out broadly pretty quickly. And I'm going to ask Jennifer to give us all the details, and then let's engage in a dialogue so that you guys can get this out as well.
Yeah, thank you, Eddie. So we're very excited to host our Dia de la Familia event once again. And we hosted this event last year in 2023 with almost 3,000 attendees. So we're expecting a big number of attendees this year again. And it's going to be at Pioneer Park in Santa Maria. So if you're from the area passing Waller Park, a little bit more south, it's going to be at Pioneer Park on Foster Road. And it's going to be on September 22nd of this year from 12 to 4 p.m. And the interesting part about this is that everything will be free at the event. So we're having over 25 different organizations coming here to provide different resources, different programs for families, and everything will be based on our pillars, but also based on the needs of farm workers in this area. So we'll have some Dignity Health will be providing blood pressure. We'll have eye exams. We're going to have more resources about childcare, about health and wellness, about immigration services, education. We'll have the school districts coming up here. And aside from the resources, we're also having live entertainment. So we're having live music. Last year we had banda, we had mariachi, and now this year we're expecting the same type of entertainment. Some clowns and Payasito Chihuin will be there, and we'll have like the banda and music, some dances, cultural dances. And aside from this, you know what's the best part about it?
Dude, that wasn't good enough?
We'll have free tacos for everyone. So,
free tacos?
Yes.
Okay. I got to ask you, Jennifer. Pioneer Park is right down the street from me. Of course, I'm going to be there. We walk our dog there. Deb and I walk little Mia there often. Can we bring Mia?
Yeah, you can bring your pet and your dog Mia, and and so you know how big the park is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So last year everything was full.
I bet. 3,000 people at Pioneer.
Yes.
Yeah.
We encourage carpooling.
Yes.
Yes, that's a great idea. Please, everybody, there is limited parking there. So you must have been parked on the street and...
Yes, we had to create a strategy right there and start parking carts on the sides. But yes, I do recommend carpooling. If you have family members, just try to take one car so we can have more people at the event. But yeah, we're having those type of stuff, resources, programs, the live entertainment, the food, plus also raffle prices. And yeah, just bring your family, your abuelita, your mom, pets. You're all welcome. We're gonna have some during the event. We're also gonna announce the recipients of the Nueva Generación Scholarship. So we're
excellent.
Excited to do that as well. We'll have some and guest speakers. So yeah, just come to Dia de la Familia. It's our second annual event, and we're hoping to have more than 3,000 people. So just carpool and we'll have more people there.
That's great. I'm looking forward to being there myself, if for nothing else, just to walk through the crowd. The program seems you've got an awful lot of services going on at one time. So I know the pavilion's there, so you must have booths that are set up. Everybody's coming.
Yeah, so if you know the park, the green area will be all booths.
Okay, got you.
Kids activities, we'll have Home Depot coming here and doing some activities. Every booth will have different activities. So you get to come play with your kids while also getting a lot of really good services or programs from the community. If you're looking to get maybe your DACA renewal, come to one of the booths. If you're looking to get childcare services, come to the other organization. Or I don't know, if you want to look for health services, we'll have some clinics there that can give you more information on how to access those health services for free. So yes, I encourage everyone to stop by that area because that's the main goal, to bring the resources. Sometimes it's really hard for farm workers to go out and to an office and be like, oh, I need this type of service, and then drive down to another office and look for another service. Right here, you have everything in just one space.
One stop.
Yeah,
you
get to look for all of those services and ask for the phone numbers or get some follow-ups. Yeah, so we're really excited for this event. I know we do it throughout the state with our other counties, but I think Santa Maria has something special that I really enjoyed last year's event, and hoping to see you there with Mia.
Count on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long Mia will stay. She's not really great with crowds, but she'll come for a little bit. So I want to thank you, Kimberly, for coming all the way over here and participating in these sessions with us today. Jennifer, I'm never going to be able to thank you enough for all of the assistance that you gave us during the USDA period, and for all of the work that we're going to do together in the future to help improve the lives of others. You know, that's what somebody asked me yesterday, what do you do? I live. I live to help other people be able to help others to improve their lives. That's what I think all of us should get up for every single day. Thank you for joining me in that cause. Thank each of you. Noemi, she's here with us every day. I know, Kimberly, you're devoted to that cause. Jennifer, I've seen your devotion firsthand. And Jacob, thank you again. He's always here. He's always on hand. He's always jumping in wherever we need him here at the United Way. And we really appreciate your technical assistance on these podcasts. Please stay tuned. You'll find these podcasts available on Spotify, YouTube, and other venues in the future. Thank you, everyone, for your time. This is Eddie Taylor, United Way. These are Community Conversations.